If you've been thinking about leaving nursing, but you are afraid that you might regret your decision, and that fear of regret is keeping you stuck where you are, then this video is definitely for you. So a lot of nurses are sitting with this decision, thinking like, what if I quit nursing and I regret this? And this was me for a while, second guessing myself, not knowing if I was making the right decision. There is a way to quit nursing confidently so that you don't regret your decision. In this video, I'm gonna share the exact step-by-step process that I used to confidently quit nursing, to own my decisions, and walk away without any regret. So you can see how this actually works and you can start this process yourself. So the first step for me, the first huge shift that took place was realizing that what I did for work did not define my value as a person. And I know in society today, our value gets so entangled into what it is that we do for work. And a lot of times when we introduce ourselves to each other, it's like, oh, hey, like that's one of the first questions that people ask. What do you do? Right? But that first big shift for me was really realizing that me being a nurse did not determine my value. So I had to learn how to stop tying my value as a person to my career, to my title as the nurse. So my experience being a nurse, so many people respected me for being a nurse. So many people were proud of me for being a nurse. So many people looked up to me for being a nurse. So naturally, I tied that to feeling worthy, to feeling valuable, to feeling like I was doing something right. So my identity was like really deeply tied to that, the respect that people gave me for my profession. But deep down, I wasn't feeling it. So I had to face the truth that just because I was good at being a nurse, just because I was praised for being a nurse, just because I was respected for being a nurse, just because everybody loved the fact that I was a nurse, it didn't mean that I had to stay stuck in that role forever. And I really had to come to terms with that, to process that, and to heal from that, honestly. So the second step was really getting honest with myself and with what I was feeling emotionally around all of this. So I had to really get honest about the emotions that were keeping me stuck in a role that I no longer wanted to be in. I had to get honest with myself about the emotions that were keeping me tied to this identity that I no longer wanted to be tied to. So the things that were keeping me stuck was fear, guilt, shame, regret, and judgment, not only from other people, but from myself at the time. So I really had to get honest with myself and not only identify my emotions, but acknowledge them, let them come up, and really allow myself to feel those emotions so that they no longer kept me stuck. But for the longest time, I honestly avoided feeling those emotions, and I tried to like push them down. I tried to numb them because that's what I was so used to in my role as a nurse. It was like, okay, it was always a lot going on. It was always a lot to do. So it became easy for me to numb my emotions. It became easy for me to push down what it was that I was truly feeling. But the more I did that, the more disconnected from myself I felt. The more disconnected from my true self, like my truest nature, my playful, fun, light nature and personality. Like the more I silenced my emotions and tried to push them down, the more and more disconnected I felt from myself. But once I finally identified those emotions and all the things that I was feeling around me, being a nurse and secretly not wanting to be a nurse, like the sooner I was able to really feel through those things, to process those emotions, and to really start to deal with them and to heal through them instead of letting them control me and control the actions that I was taking. So the third step was really learning how to let go. I really had to learn how to let go of other people's expectations of me. I had to learn how to let go of my own expectations of me. I had to really learn how to process my emotions and how to accept the decision that I was making, how to really make peace with my choice to quit nursing, and really allowing myself to let go of the emotions that were tied to me quitting nursing. So letting go of the guilt, letting go of, oh, this is the thing that I should be doing, letting go of the idea that I had to retire in a career even if I didn't like it or even if I didn't love it, letting go of this guilt that I carried that was keeping me where I was, because I'm like, okay, I put all this energy, time, and effort into becoming a nurse. So I had to let go of all of that. So honestly, at the time, letting go of my identity as the nurse, it was one of the hardest things, but it was also one of the most freeing things. Because once I finally gave myself permission to let go of all this stuff that I was carrying tied to this role and tied to me forcing myself to stay inside of this box that I started to feel confined in and that I no longer wanted to be a part of, that was the most liberating experience. It was the most freeing thing ever. And I can't even really put it into like the words that I'm expressing about that. It is not doing it any justice to how freeing it feels to really allow yourself to take another path, to allow yourself to accept that the path that you were on initially no longer resonates with you, and to actually do something about that. No matter what other people are expecting you to do, no matter what other people are hoping that you do, but to really own your decision and to choose yourself. So I know a lot of nurses stay in that limbo of second guessing for years. Some stay in that phase for decades because they don't have the proper tools or the proper guidance to actually allow themselves to let go, to allow themselves permission to do something else. So they just stay in this role based on everybody else's expectations and just settle in life. The fourth step was rediscovering who I was outside of my nurse identity. This was one of the most fun steps, I must admit, because underneath all those heavy emotions that I was carrying, underneath all of the emotions that I had to process in order to come to terms with my decision and in order to confidently own my decision to quit nursing, underneath all of those heavy emotions, like once I stripped all of those away, there was this version of me that was waiting to be met, that was completely different than who I was when I was in my role of the nurse. And I mentioned this story before about how my oldest niece, she told me recently, like, Auntie, I never knew like you were this fun. I never knew that, you had this much personality. And that really touched me, because my decision to quit nursing and to leave a role that no longer resonated with me allowed my nieces and my nephews to see the true me. It allowed my family to see the true me and to see the version of me who wasn't always tired and stressed and overwhelmed and anxious because of work. So I really got to meet parts of myself that were buried underneath all of the burnout. That's one of like the biggest benefits of all of this, is that I was able to come back home to myself. So many people don't know who they are because they're buried underneath all of this stress, all of this anxiety, all of this overwhelm and burnout and mental exhaustion. And they get separated so far from who they really are at their core. For so long, I didn't even know what I truly wanted, because I was just going through the motions and just, satisfying my role as the nurse and doing the things that I signed up to do, even though I no longer resonated with those things, even though I felt in my soul that I wanted out, even though I felt trapped, even though I was crying in my car before work and feeling extremely anxious and literally dreading clocking into work. But once I really allowed myself to own my decision and to rediscover who I was outside of that, everything changed. These versions of me that I didn't even know existed came to meet me, came to greet me and welcome me with open arms. In this step of the process, I was really able to really get clear on what it was that I wanted, what type of life I wanted to live. So this was really about me getting clear and deciding on what I wanted next for myself, what I wanted for myself in this next new chapter, not what other people wanted from me or not what other people expected of me. Because if I kept going that route and if I stayed in the role, even though I no longer wanted to be there, like even though I secretly hated it, then I would have just been settling and living my life for other people, living my life based on the standards of what other people expected of me. And that's no life to live. I always say, like, it's your life for a reason. You're supposed to live it. You're supposed to create it. You're supposed to be who you want to be and create the life you want to create on your own terms, your own rules. Be the main character in your story. Have that main character energy. Because if not, it's like, what's the point of all of this? People aren't even really meeting like the healthiest, most authentic version of you if you continue to be buried under all of these emotions, under all of the stress, burnout, anxiety, and if you continue to be trapped in a role that you really don't want to be in. So this is the part where I truly started designing my life the way that I wanted it to be. Designing my life in a way that felt aligned for me and the type of person that I am and the type of lifestyle that I want to live, the type of success that I want to have, the type of wealth that I want to create, the type of life that I truly want to experience. So the thing is, when I was going through all of these steps, I didn't have like somebody to guide me, okay? It took me 4 years to figure this process out on my own through a lot of trial and error. 4 years to confidently own my decision to quit nursing, to like stand 10 toes down in it without any regret. So this is the exact framework that I built my Confidence to Quit Nursing signature program around. This is a process that works. I was able to put together the process that I used into a step-by-step framework that will only take 4 weeks to go through. So what took me 4 years to figure out by myself, because I didn't have that guidance, you're going to walk through that process in 4 weeks. So I give you the tools, the guidance, the support that you need to go through this journey so that you don't stay stuck. So you can actually own your decision to quit nursing confidently and make that transition with clarity, with peace, with courage. So you don't have to spend years in second guessing and staying stuck in fear and allowing that to stall you, like to stop you in your tracks and to keep you in a life that you're settling for, to keep you in a role that you no longer want to be in, so that you don't have to continue to sacrifice your true desires. And so you can own your decision to quit nursing with confidence and you can step into your next chapter. If that sounds like something you need, if you want to join, I invite you into my program. The link is below in the description box. Comment on what resonated with you the most and just talk to me. Let me know what your biggest fear is about leaving nursing. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help guide you through this process. So remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on next week's video, because I'm giving you the tea, okay? If you really follow my guidance and you put these things into practice, you will be able to confidently own your decision. You will be able to confidently quit nursing and to really do the thing that you're curious about, the thing that actually lights you up. So I also have a free masterclass that's coming this month, the month of September, where I'll walk you through the mindset shifts that are required in order for you to successfully go through this process. So make sure you stay on the lookout for that too. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time and I'll see you next time. Love you. Bye.